and welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Lauren, and today I'm looking at another Dinosauria video. This one is going to be Sea and Sky, as well as the making of Sea and Sky. I still have not looked at the making of our Frozen Past. I might just end up doing that last, like go back to it eventually. But for now, we're gonna do Sea and Sky, and look up and then find out what he made. So this is gonna be interesting. It's already pretty colors. I already really like the coloring that he's used here. I cannot wait. This has been such a fun series, and let's begin. All right, go back to the beginning. Thank you. Ooh, sassy. Lightning was cool, guys. That was a cool... Oh, look how pretty the lighting is on that! Whoa! A lot of sunlight streaming in for what I thought was a, yeah, a thunderstorm. Is that what happens? Is there still like a lot of light that streams in? Because like, I mean, I've been under the water in storm, like not in storms, but in rain before, and I don't remember that diffusion. But the diffusion's here too. Trying to figure out where the sun is coming from. Or if it's just a stylistic thing. I thought it was sunbeams, but I don't think so. Hi. You're big! These were babies the whole time? Coloring is so cool. I love that, like, the time the little baby kind of stepped up and did what Mama was doing. And then Mama did it right. Oh, now the storm is ending. Nice. Or just rain now. Good snatch. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, we're fine. Are we fine? I'm worried about like a Jaws sort of situation happening where the thing just gets yoinked. Yes, missed. Haha. Now the sun's coming. Oh, the sun is there, though. Interesting lighting decision. Okay, so Mama came down, figured out that there is, in fact, fish down there. Almost got eaten by a giant whale thing, and then all of the babies decide now's the time to go. Okay. Sea and Sky. Hopefully the babies are okay. Okay, I definitely thought someone was gonna die there.
Hello, this is
Hi.
David, and thank you so much for watching my film. This was a lot of work. Special thanks to all my top Patreon supporters on screen right now. Without these guys, this series would not be possible at all. Also, please feel free to check out the making of video I made.
I'm going there right
accuracies,
now.
Inaccuracies, artwork, and my general creative process behind
that's
this
so
film
cool looking!
as well. Bye guys.
Bye! Let's go.
Hello, my name is David, and welcome to this behind the scenes video covering the fourth
Maybe he'll tell
episode
us
of my
why he had sun and lightning happening at the same time.
Dinosauria series.
It did, because it did mean some really, really cool lighting. Like, I really enjoyed the look of it all. I was just a little bit confused as to what was happening with that.
Sea and Sky.
That's cool too.
In this video, I will be going over the artwork I created for the film, the challenges rigging and animating such strange and prehistoric creatures, on top of the usual rundown of scientific accuracies, inaccuracies, and also my creative process building this big clay sculpture I made
That
for
is
the film.
so cool!
So, let's get started.
Geosternbergia. Safe! Oh, that's cool. I love Foley work.
Even though this film is part of my Dinosauria series, this particular animation does not actually feature any dinosaurs at all. The film features bony fish, cartilaginous fish, mosasaurs, and pterosaurs, none of which belong to the Dinosauria clade. Pterosaurs are not dinosaurs, but both families are still often lumped together in films and books and toy boxes, which is quite understandable. Pterosaurs and dinosaurs look very similar. They both appeared at around the same time and lived alongside one another throughout the Mesozoic period, both reaching similar large sizes and parallel success.
That's cool.
The two groups are closely related, so closely related that they share pycnofibrous fluffy coatings, endothermic metabolisms, and hollow bones. Pterosaurs are just about as closely related to dinosaurs as it's possible to be without actually being dinosaurs.
That's a cool shot too. I like that composition. The humans with the masks dancing are creepy though. Don't like them very much with them out.
Pop culture depiction you see of dinosaurs in film and TV and video games isn't particularly accurate, but it is
but it's fun.
better than the archaic persona that pterosaurs still have in most people's minds. Most people, when imagining a dinosaur, now at least picture a warm-blooded, active animal that is in some way related to birds. But the mainstream interpretation of pterosaurs is often still the flapping and squawking reptilian sky vermin, virtually unchanged since 1933's King Kong. I decided to create this film, break my rules, and focus on a bunch of non-dinosaurs because I wanted to counter that interpretation.
That's really cool.
I wrote this film with the goal of portraying these animals as noble, respectable, and competent.
It worked.
A particularly big influence for the tone of this film was this painting here by paleo artist Mark Whitten called Tyrannogeddon from 2016.
Whoa!
This painting perfectly captured the
for
effective,
sure,
strong and confident qualities I wanted to convey in my pterosaurs, and I'm sure just looking at it, the inspiration that led to Sea and Sky is quite obvious.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go, sculpture!
I have been making clay sculptures for each of my Dinosauria films, and for Sea and Sky, I of course decided to create a mature male Geosternbergia.
Oh, it was a guy. I was calling it Mama. Hi, cat.
I created the sculpture in pretty much the exact same way I've created the rest, with Daz air drying clay rolled up into a bunch of sausagey tubes which were then dried and glued together into sort of a pteranodon looking stick figure. I then proceeded to bulk out this foundation with more and more clay, eventually leading to the general form of a pterosaur. Once this basic mesh was blocked out, I then got to work on the finer surface details. As far as I know, we have no direct evidence of scaly skin on pterosaurs at all. Instead, these animals seem to all be covered in fur-like or feather-like pycnofibers and possibly areas of scaleless skin as well.
Sure. Why not?
Once the sculpt was finished, I primed the model, painted it with acrylic paints and brushes, and of course, remembered to serenade the piece while waiting for each coat to dry. This final world, it keeps spinning around.
He can sing too! Man! That's what's up!
Sculpting dinosaurs for as long as I can remember, but I don't think I've ever sculpted a pterosaur before. Pterosaurs have body plans unlike any animal to ever
It's
exist.
so weird looking.
And having to tangibly form these alien anatomical shapes, unlike the rest of the animal kingdom that I'm so familiar with, I think
because the
left
legs
me
almost
with
look
an
human.
unexpected respect and appreciation for this weird, unique group of creatures.
I also love how different it is than all the other ones.
I
It's
think the
fascinating.
sculpture is pretty good.
I think so
He
too.
is
Not
a
that I
weird
know.
color, heavily resembling one of these, and he's
Little
also
bit.
a weird shape. But he's also a pterosaur, and pterosaurs are super weird, so that's probably fine.
It's allowed. It's allowed for him to be weird.
Here, finally, is the whole family of Dinosauria sculptures so far.
Oh, wow.
Just one more left to go.
So beautiful. Oh. Man. It just makes me weirdly happy to see them all. I just really, really like them.
Set 85 million years ago in the Niobrara Formation.
See, that was what I appreciated. I liked that, like, the baby kind of goes up and does the thing, and I thought the baby was going to be the focal point of the movie, but then to have Papa, I guess, come up and do the exact same thing, it's cute. Okay, it's like baby following up what Daddy's doing. I like it.
In what is now Kansas, and follows a flock of mostly female Geosternbergia.
Oh, they're females,
the
not that.
pterosaurs are hungry and want to dive
I've been
into
wrong over and over again. I thought it was babies. And mama, and actually it is. Different kind of daddy.
The sea below to feed, but the group is hesitant to enter the water. Dangerous predators lurk in these depths. The larger, dominant male of the group emerges and wastes no time as he dives into the dangerous sea. The onlookers, tenser than ever, watch their alpha descend into the darkness and snatch his prize, but he has not succeeded just yet. Mesozoic sharks hunting in the shallows are curious of the pterosaur, but the real threat comes in the form of something far larger. Spurred on by the male's successful display, the rest of the pterosaur group take flight, one by one diving into the deep. Our alpha male returns to his perch and watches his flock from high above, as they conquer their fears, take the plunge and hunt for themselves. A hunt that he inspired.
It makes more sense that because if it was a mama, she would have fed the babies.
Geosternbergia would have been adept walkers on the land, swimmers in the sea, and flyers in the air. And these three different ways of getting about have drastically different associated emotional connotations, which gave me an idea for the story structure of this film. This film has 3 acts: an opening, slower act which is on the ground, a tension-filled sinking middle act which takes place in the sea, and a triumphant third act where we finally take to the skies. This whole series has been inspired by nature documentary filmmaking, but none more so than Sea and Sky. This film was written to mimic exactly the type of scenario you would see play out in a real-life nature documentary segment. I wanted this film to have this more natural, realistic tone in contrast to, say, a more ancient Spring, which has a far more fantastical tone, to really hammer home the idea that these creatures were real. I wanted to portray Geosternbergia as an inspiration, and I felt stripping back as many fantastical elements as I could was the correct way to go about doing that. Sea and Sky, on a shot-for-shot basis, was one of the more time-consuming films I've ever worked on.
I feel like you said that a lot in this series.
Shot. This is an example of a simple shot. It's from Old Buck, and it's just a 3D animated dinosaur on a 2D static background. That's it. But for Sea and Sky, because this film is set during a thunderstorm, by the coast and in the sea, there's are no static backgrounds.
Yeah.
I have avoided depicting these kinds of environments as often as I can, because water is an incredibly hard thing to animate. However, for this film, I felt it was finally time to face my fear.
It looked good enough. It's stylized enough that you're good.
All of these effects, the waves, the splashes, the bubbles, the lightning and the rain, individually are simple effects that I've known how to do for a while. I've just never really had to compile so many all at once.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Some of these effects turned out a lot nicer than others. I really like the bubbly movement effects around my characters as they swim through the sea, and I also love the look of the lightning here. But I really don't like this slow motion splashing effect made by my Mosasaur as it breaches out of the water. I am, overall, quite happy with the final result here. It is a bit jagged for water. And I learned a lot of new tricks working on this film. Just knowing that I can pull off settings like this opens the door to so many more storytelling opportunities in future short films.
I also appreciate him telling us things that he likes and doesn't like about his own work. I think that, I feel like that keeps him grounded, keeps us to know, like, too. It's like, well, what does he want to work on? And then we can kind of like follow his journey that way. Be like, and the next time we see something, it's like, well, did he figure out how to make this thing he didn't like in this other video something that he loves in the next? I think that's a fun, creative way to follow along with his journey.
The first animal featured in the film is the pterosaur Geosternbergia, formerly Pteranodon sternbergi. These animals hunted on the coast and in the sea on a diet of fish and squid. Geosternbergia was heavily sexually dimorphic. Males were around twice the size of the females and sported much larger, more elaborate crests. Male specimens are also a lot less common than female specimens, suggesting a polygamous mating system similar to a lot of modern seals, where large groups consisting of numerous females would be competed over by fewer, larger males for breeding rights over the entire group. This is the system I decided to depict in my film. The Geosternbergia flock depicted consists almost entirely of females led by one dominant mature male. I made sure to create a decent amount of individual variation throughout the group, and if you look very closely, there's even one sneaky juvenile male in there as well, who's just starting to grow in his reddish purple colouring and larger crest.
I did not notice him, but I thought they were all babies, so I was just wrong about everything about them.
A lot of the sound effects used in my Dinosauria series I record myself. That was too much. For this film, my Geosternbergia vocalizations here were created using a royalty-free sound of a bird, which I pitch shifted and slowed down, mixed with the sound of some clacking beaks, which I recorded myself using a bamboo bowl and a plank of wood.
Cool! Oh, that's fun. Like I said, I love Foley work. I love seeing how it works.
Creating the pterosaur 3D models and rigs for this film was a massive challenge. Getting these guys to fly and to swim was relatively simple, but folding this model up into a realistic standing position and getting it to walk was almost impossible with the wonky rigs that I originally created. On screen right now is some of the earliest footage of this film that I rendered out, featuring my original Geosternbergia rigs. These early models were a nightmare and were full of inaccuracies and rigging issues. Here, in comparison, is the latest footage of the film after months and months of tiny tweaks to make the rigs more usable and the models more anatomically accurate. These changes including adding webbed feet, fixing the wing posture, and removing the wing membrane between the ankles and the tail. In my sketchbook drawings and my sculpture, the pteroid bone is also very prominent. This backwards-facing wrist bone is unique to pterosaurs, but it's totally obscured into the anatomy of the wing in my finished animation model. This isn't a mistake, it was much easier to animate this way, and having the bone hidden within the flesh of the wing isn't
what you gotta do.
But in retrospect, I think I far prefer the look of the more prominent pteroid.
It is cool.
I kinda wish I implemented it.
Like, when you can see it a little bit better. But I understand why you wouldn't, you know?
The final animals
you gotta make yourself
in the film,
not go crazy.
After a bunch of mistakes, a ton of tweaks, and a ton of fixes, are otherwise accurately portrayed, with the correct social structure, drastic sexual dimorphism, they're feeding in the sea, and they're launching into the air using their powerful arms over their smaller, weaker legs.
That is
cool. The way that my male Geosternbergia takes off from the sea, using almost exclusively his powerful arms to skim across the surface of the water into eventual flight, is also exactly how we believe these animals would have taken off from the sea. One substantial inaccuracy remains though.
Let's go.
It's present in all of my drawings, my sculpture, and my 3D models. All of the pterosaurs in this animation walk on the tips of their toes. They are digitigrade, like this. But it turns out we have a lot of direct fossil trackway evidence that confirms that these animals would have walked on their toes and
whoa!
They would have walked plantigrade, like this.
Oh, whoa!
I got this
Okay.
mistake far too late, and fixing it would require reanimating the majority of the film again for the third or fourth time, and I do have my limits.
That is totally fair. But that's what the fun thing about these are too, like the making ofs, because it's like he could be like, "Look, I know." You can fight off comments, you know, people being, actually, it's like, look, if you watch my other video, you'll find out that I know. I can appreciate that.
Second animal featured in the film is the prehistoric shark Cretoxyrhina, which does not have a sketchbook page dedicated to it, so
it's a shark.
I suppose this will have to do.
Aww.
Cretoxyrhina could grow
like the little
very
teeth.
large, much larger than what I depict in this film. This was intentional, though, as the sharks in the film are supposed to be juveniles and subadults hunting in the shallows. I did this because I wanted them to be more abundant, hesitant to attack the pterosaur, more skittish, and the smaller that they are, the larger my Mosasaur looks in comparison.
They do.
We actually have direct evidence of Cretoxyrhina hunting pterosaurs. LACM 50926 is a Pteranodon longiceps specimen that famously has a shark's tooth embedded in its neck, that tooth belonging to this exact species.
Oh, sick.
All modern sharks are also sexually dimorphic. Females are generally much larger than the males, and the males have a pair of penis-like extensions to their pelvic fins called claspers. I, of course, made sure to include these details on a couple of my Cretoxyrhina as well.
Yoink, next page.
The third and
Hello.
final animal featured in the film is the Mosasaur Tylosaurus.
I like the rings
Mosasaurs,
on the
like
mosasaur.
pterosaurs, were also not dinosaurs. They're not even closely related to dinosaurs. Mosasaurs are actually related to modern-day monitor lizards and snakes.
Oh,
These
really
animals
interesting.
were oceanic predators that became incredibly successful
I love all of the design of this thing. I love the rings. I love the spots. This thing is just so cool looking.
during the later half of the Cretaceous. Tylosaurus here being one of the largest of the group, easily rivaling the size of Tyrannosaurus rex.
Wow.
Now, I'm
Yikes.
only 25 years old, but as a
Dang.
kid, I don't remember anyone else
He's
really knowing what
25?
a dinosaur was, which seems to have
very
massively
talented.
changed in the past 10 or 15 years. Mosasaurs and Spinosaurs are the two prehistoric groups I think I've seen rise the most in mainstream popularity in my lifetime. But I feel Mosasaurs are often misrepresented in mainstream
realize he
media
was so
as
young.
simple crocodiles with flippers, which isn't really correct. I tried to make my take on the species look as accurate as I possibly could. My design is streamlined, looking a whole lot more like a monitor lizard over an alligator, with the anatomically correct big tail fluke, the iconic second row of teeth in the upper jaw, and it even has a forked tongue, a feature that is shared by all of its modern day relatives.
Interesting. I did not catch that in the show, but that's fun.
The colour scheme for this species was inspired by a mix of an orca and a lace monitor, which I feel might be every single paleo-artist's go-to while reconstructing this animal, but
That's just 'cause it
really
looks
like
cool.
the simplicity of the final result. I can't really imagine this animal looking any other way than this.
It does look pretty cool.
Sea and Sky ended up being a lot more work than I expected.
Which makes sense. It's an animation. I feel like animations are always a lot more work than you go in thinking it's gonna be.
The finished film is only 3 or 4 minutes long, but it was originally conceived as an even shorter 2-minute film. It was conceived as an easy, simple, complementary piece to the Dinosauria series that I could bang out relatively quickly. The original 2-minute cut of this film was finished, and it was finished months ago. It was literally exactly the same film as the final cut, but with half of the shots missing. And it was really, really bad. It was too fast-paced, it was uninteresting, and it was rushed. Full of animation errors, cut corners, and scientific inaccuracies. I ended up extending and tweaking that film seemingly endlessly into the product it finally became, wasting a lot of time doing so. For example, in the original 2-minute cut of this film, the Cretoxyrhino were only supposed to be seen from a distance, so the model I made was very low detail and crudely animated. However, as I extended the film, I needed close-ups of the sharks, so I had to go back and create a higher detail, better animated Cretoxyrhino. However, as I continued to extend the film, I also ended up needing a shot of the shark baring its teeth. Neither of my Cretoxyrhino had functioning mouths, so I had to create a third shark with a 3D modelled, textured and animated mouth. I made 3 Cretoxyrhino rigs for this film for 3 separate purposes, when all I really needed to create was the last one, which can do all 3 things. This is a perfect example of the constant retreading and time wasting that kept happening because of my early mistakes, and is also why Cretoxyrhino doesn't have a sketchbook page.
That makes sense.
Oh.
Oh. He's cute there, though. I like him.
That all being said, though, I surprisingly quite like the final film. I think I love it. It was incredibly tedious and boring to make, but it somehow grew on me and has become my second favourite of the series just after our Frozen Past. To me, Sea and Sky is the most realistic feeling film of the Dinosauria series, and that was the intention. I set out to create a film that felt real
And it
and
definitely
portrayed
did.
pterosaurs as confident and inspirational, at the same time challenging myself technically by setting a film in and around the sea. I feel the film succeeds in doing all of that. Besides my tippy-toe pterosaurs, this is exactly the film I wanted to make. It just took me a long
little too long.
time to
Fair
get there.
It was
Hopefully,
worth it.
the final film in this series isn't as much trouble, but I mean, part of me doubts that because at the moment the finale is shaping up to be the longest and most ambitious film of the whole
That's
series.
looking pretty cool, though. That's looking pretty cool, though. Shocking. I know I say that about every single one of these.
If you want to support me or support this Dinosauria series, or read through the sketchbook I've been showing off in this video, you can. High resolution photographs of the entire Dinosauria sketchbook so far are up on my Patreon page right now. You can also gain access to each of my animated short films 2 weeks before they're released here on YouTube. Thank you all so
You're welcome.
much for watching.
Thank you, David.
But it is the end of the video, and that means I have to leave my
B-roll
house
time.
again and film some outro B-roll. Today, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'll be taking this Pteranodon model right here,
So cute.
and we're going to walk down to the coast, where he rightfully belongs.
Yay! Cute.
Special thanks to all my top Patreon supporters on screen right now. Hopefully scrolling over some footage of a happy Pteranodon in his natural habitat. This Dinosauria series would not be possible without these guys, so again, thank you very, very much. Bye, guys.
Bye. It is a cute pteranodon. Oh no!
My knees! I'm feeling.
Oops. I didn't know that he was. I also appreciate that at the end with the B-roll stuff, there's always some kind of wonky nonsense that happens, and I appreciate that. I think it's just really funny every single time, and he never expects it. It's always something happens. Real life is nature is weird and makes weird things happen. Anyway, thank you so much for this. I always enjoy these, and I hope you do too. And yeah, I've got one more of these full ones to record, and then before I go back and watch The Frozen Past, I might do a rewatch of The Frozen Past before I go in and do the making of. You have to let me know if that is what you want me to do. Until then, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.